I know Rider Rohan's not the biggest fan of tech lists on his pigeons, so you know if he's bringing it, he must be facing something truly vile, and it's just Tzeentch. Tzeentch is the vile thing, to be honest, and it's two friends of the channel. We've got Rider Rohan versus Strat Game here. Let's take a look. Tech list on his Birdo with the Fireborn. We've got White Lions in the front line here. Dragon Princes looking spectacular in their absolute greatest color scheme. The black and gold, just chef's kiss. We've also got some more White Lions over here, and that's basically it. So looking for plenty of AP infantry in the front line to fight Tzeentch and halberds, and then cavalry to kill everything else. On Tzeentch's side, it does look like we're going to go for some combat potential lords with two mounted characters here with halberds, the Lord and Hero. Looks like a Sorcerer of Metal. That's going to be the caster. Knights of Immolation up in the sky, and we've got a nice wide line of Zangors, Marauders, and some Chaos Knights as well. So looking for more of an offensive, kind of fast rush type build with Knights supporting the flanks, fast infantry, trying to chase down those units. But fast infantry also means light infantry, and they're going to get hammered on a charge by the Dragon Princes immediately as they drop in. Nice Flock of Doom from Techless as well. Hits those Chaos Knights on the side charge. They're trying to sweep up and around, but do get caught up a little bit by the Fireborn here. We see the Reaver Archers basically just taking up standard archer position in the back line here to act as a skirmish force that can then reposition quickly if the front line collapses in any way. But Techless coming in here doing some nice damage to the Knights of Immolation here along with these White Lions. Very good tandem, much more than the Zangors can handle. And they're routed off in fairly short order. Just in general, the White Lions are going to outperform the Zangors with their kind of newly adjusted stats. To be honest, they always traded well with Zangors at the cost. So the Zangors sort of receiving a tier nerf, if you will, going from, well, they're sort of solid mid-tier to kind of low mid-tier. Anyway. Yeah, more Flock of Doom on this side also from Techless, but he himself has taken some pretty severe damage from the two Halberd characters, so going to have to come back, try and screen through the Fireborn here, who themselves are getting hit by Metal Sorcerer, and it's just a lot of unit models in this backline area. Thankfully, Techless Terror kicks in. Marauders are going to start to rout, start to thin some of that model count down a little bit. Yeah, High Elves won pretty decisively in the front line, but the backline area is getting a little bit chaotic here. Pun absolutely intended. It's going to turn into a little bit of a slugfest here. Not something that will favor the Dragon Princes particularly here. They probably want to try and cycle charge as much as possible, but just the numbers of Marauders are going to make that fairly difficult. That said, beautiful opportunity for Techless to unleash the Flocks of Doom, as we have seen and will likely continue to see. Honestly, Flock of Doom's in a really solid place right now, especially when you have someone like Techless that can just spam it until the end of days, accrue a lot of value over the course of the battle, especially if you can save enough Winds of Magic to use it in the late game on some of these blobs. Like right here, you could hit every single unit for the Tzeentch build with one single Flock of Doom, which we are likely to see shortly. A little Plague of Rust here on these something. I think it's on the Dragon Princes. Or just, yeah, it's on something. White Lions, actually. Yes, helps them take the extra hits from the Zangors. Definitely a big fan of Plague of Rust and taking non-AP troops. Although High Elves are one of those factions that can take enough armor where sometimes it's not enough, like in this build. Pretty much all the units besides the Reavers have a good amount of armor, so Plague of Rust only being single target, it's a little bit tough to try and keep up with everything, but High Elves are definitely on the back foot right now in terms of model count, sort of map control. A lot of their units have been routed. Strat Game does have a lot of these Zangors who come back from route. He's kind of prioritizing his micro close right now, so I don't think he's realized. But when he does, that's going to be a big second push with another, wave of Zangors and whatever else coming in. Let's see here. Maybe the Reavers will go out and try and charge them and chase them away before Strat Game can notice. But more Flock of Doom, yes, just absolutely devastating all of these Tzeentchian lines. Also helps to kind of keep a lot of the multi-model units from regenerating too much of their HP. The Lions are solid infantry. They've got good stats all around, good armor, and whoa, that Marauder's like glitching into space. But anyway, yeah, I mean, the missile resistance, they're kind of just good all around sort of Swiss Army knife infantry. I used to really not be a fan of them. But these days, a lot of matchups, they just kind of do what you need them to. They're not necessarily world beaters by themselves, but definitely a solid line for a matchup like this where they can fight a lot of targets fairly well. They're not going to fight everything fantastic. Kind of reminds me of, like, Reiksguard back in the day. Definitely not anymore. Reiksguard are quite sad now, but you know, back in the day, let's say Warhammer 1 and even Warhammer 2 to a degree, you could sort of take Reiksguard and use them in any situation where cavalry is appropriate, and they would pretty much do well, even fighting against, like, you know, holding off enemy cavalry and just other situations. They would do okay. White Lions are sort of that right now, I feel, for the High Elves. They just do a lot of things, like, reasonably well, which makes them a great versatile unit. Anyway, I'll stop gushing about White Lions now and actually talk about the replay as the Dragon Princes come thundering back in. You're going to get a nice shock charge here on these Zangors. The White Lions manage to hold, and the Flock of Dooms start to tell as the High Elves sort of push back Tzeentch in numbers. The characters are still going to be quite tough to kill. I mean, it's just techless mostly for, like, single target, right? I mean, the Fireborn have taken enough damage that I don't know if they're going to be... Are they even still on the field? Yeah, I'm not sure. But techless definitely got his work cut out for him trying to take out these three Tzeentchian characters. And if he can fight them sort of individually, that's going to be ideal. Gets a charge there to kind of break down the barrier of that Exalted Hero. The White Lions take care of the rest. And... yeah, and White Lions showing their versatility, supporting against characters, especially armored combat characters like this. It's going to be another absolutely excellent use case for them. But Caster is going to pay the price here. He gets routed off as Teclis then turns to fight the Lord and Hero, both at the same time, is unacceptable. So he's going to once again screen out through his Dragon Princes, move out of frame, try and pop back up into the air, and just keep wearing away all the support until he has support and the Tzeentchian characters do not. That's the goal here at this point. And it's doing a decent job of it. Zangors, the Marauders, of course, just lacking the armor and staying power to hold in an engagement like this. You can very much see the difference in armor and defense and leadership between the two sides in that it's basically been a fairly even slugfest, but High Elves just having that little bit of extra left, even though the balance of power doesn't like them. It's mostly due to the character situation, and of course Teclis has regrowth, whereas Tzeentch has appropriately been robbed of it. So he's going to now get a regrowth on himself, which will significantly change the balance of power to be a little bit more accurate reflection of the battlefield situation. Ooh, he just straight up kills the Tzeentch caster too. Oh no, wait, no, not quite. He's still alive, but close. The Lord Metalcaster very unlikely to come back from rout. These other two Tzeentchian characters also getting a little bit separated here as they kind of get clogged up in the White Lions. Again, going to be advantageous for Teclis to potentially fight one without the other. Strat Game, realizing this, is going to kind of charge back in to try and get them more or less in the same position as best he can. Sometimes it's a little bit awkward when they decide to charge the center point of a unit, which is not where you want them to. But yeah, Teclis getting a nice safe charge here with the Dragon Princes in a good protection position. Another Flock of Doom just to try and finish off what's left of these Marauders and Zangors. Yeah, Teclis definitely in the driver's seat now. And it looks like little Enfeebling Foe also going to be unleashed to debuff the stats of these characters here. It does actually sort of get out of trouble right as it's cast, to a degree. Yeah, ooh, Teclis going to maybe get the charge there. Nope, looks like it just wore off like right as Teclis got there, so he's going to actually nope out of that engagement. Screen through the White Line once again. Get a rear attack on that Exalted Hero. You would think he'd have seen it coming. Could have. Just kidding. Anyway. Only actually 2 eyes there, which is surprising for Tzeentch. You know, 3 heads and 2 eyes. You would think normally Tzeentch is like 1 head and like 16 eyes, right? But yeah, that's going to be it. Rider Rohan takes the win, and quite an impressive one there for having such a tall build. The Dragon Princes definitely helped carry the day significantly, or at least the one of them did. Teclis, though, man, with his bird, Flock of Doom, just a beast. Definitely a beast, even though a lot of people, including myself, are maybe slightly still salty about his mount. It's fine. It makes him into somewhat of a world beater in some ways and in some matchups. Definitely, he's somewhat vulnerable here to certain things, but with Strat Game's build composition, he ended up being a really nice counter to just thin out this horde of light infantry. Again, the Dragon Prince is also helping with that as well. White Lion's definitely in their element, fighting, everything here. For Tzeentch's side, I mean, the characters are going to get some pretty good value, considering how cheap they are, especially. The rest of the army's okay. The Marauders actually trade pretty cost-effectively overall. Zangor's not so much. They're going to struggle a little bit more now in this matchup, I think. Like, I would agree with maybe taking a couple on the flanks, but I don't know. Tzeentch is a little bit tricky in this matchup. The Blues are decent enough here. I don't know. They don't do great against White Lions, though, either, so have to kind of sit on this one a little bit and see. Yeah, but it's definitely interesting. A lore of metal with the two characters and sort of these two kind of taking out elite targets with the Plague of Rust helping these guys perform against non-armored targets. Like, I kind of see where it was going. It just, in practice, Rite of Rohan's specific build here had just too much armor for it to work out successfully. So definitely interesting to see that kind of back and forth play. Hopefully you enjoyed that as well. If you do like this sort of content, be sure to like, subscribe, hit that bell notification button. Every time I upload a new video, you'll be notified. Thanks again. We'll see you next time.